Oh, hey, what's going on there, YouTube?
YouTube.
This is SEL 0320.
This is Joe Johnson 030.
We are back for a brand new spoiler movie review of the year, y'all. Potentially debatable. I guess Star Wars might be up there
for the year so far. We'll say that.
So we went and saw early showing, well, not the earliest, but a 10:30 showing of Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Let's go.
And the joint was real. It was real. Like, I went into the movie with low expectation. I wasn't thinking in my head that this is gonna be better than the first one, especially based on some kind of reviews that I've seen. But I literally enjoyed every second of it. From the opening shot, I was like shook, be quite honest with you, because they have the Avengers literally working as a unit. Were they in I don't know if they were in Moscow or they were across the planet somewhere else, and they were trying to track down a villain that was doing some interesting things with the twins that came up from the end of the Winter Soldier. And when you see them in action and the way they're working as a team, like, I mean, Captain America, he was riding on a motorcycle at one point and he flipped it over and threw it at a truck. The truck literally basically burst into flames, and he kept on moving. And I mean, it was like they were working so well as a unit. I was like, eye candy. Like, even how it progressed into the opening credits when it introduced the Maximoff twins, which was Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, Pietro, and I forget the sister's name, and how they manipulate the team so early on that I was like, they're not going to be able to really deal with these people the right kind of way. And especially the first person that gets manipulated is Tony Stark. But my impressions of it, visually, I enjoyed every second of it. Like, there were things that I didn't expect to watch or see, especially with the Vision. Like, the way that they created the Vision on a digital VFX level, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if it was practical effects or it's all CG, but it looked like a person in a suit, or it looked like a cybernetic organism, which was what he was supposed to be. But I mean, it was done so well that I was like, man, the visual effects are just amazing. Even the 3D. I think that IMAX 3D was actually it showcased pretty well. All the aerial scenes were just done so well. But I literally enjoyed it. I was out of the movie. I was like, y'all, I feel drunk because I was like, I've gone through too much. I absorbed way too much, especially from the beginning all the way to the end. But what are some of your thoughts, I guess, on this spoiler review so far?
I mean, that's a general question, man. I mean, on the movie a whole, I mean, I absolutely loved it. One thing that I kind of didn't say, like, during the first Avengers for the 10-minute review that went over, but anyway, if you guys watched that, one thing I left out is, like, one of my hopes was for that it will have more action than the first one. And they really blew the first one out of the water when it came to action. Cause I mean, Sam already mentioned the first scene. They were in a fight, like in an actual battlefield, like, and it was crazy, y'all. Like, I was just blown away the first 5 minutes. I was like, this. Alright, like, I find satisfaction in the first 5 minutes. I was like, alright, this movie is what I wanted to see. And I knew after the first 5 minutes, I was like, this is gonna be awesome. I was like, this is gonna be an awesome ride. Yeah.
Okay. I think another thing that I guess threw me was how they treated the relationship between Hawkeye and the team and his other team back home, which is his family. I thought that was a really subtle touch. I think that Joss Whedon has a way of being able to add a family element to great TV series such as like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and make them like mean a lot more. And I know that Hawkeye is an asset to the team, but it's debatable because he doesn't have any real powers. Even like same thing for Black Widow. But this time you really get to see Jeremy Renner really elevate his character in deeper ways, like where he's actually able to really help them. It's really shown in a deeper way, and then not just that, the way his family dynamics is just so funny. But one of the things that this one, like, there was a lot of subtle cues that were really funny all throughout most of the entire movie. But the other thing that I thought about was the relationship between Bruce Banner and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I did not see that really coming. I'd heard of it because everybody's been kind of spoiling stuff. It was really beautiful. It showcased Black Widow at her worst emotional moments, because she was being blatantly honest and open with him because she felt like she can really trust him. She felt like all the people she worked with, she can trust with her guard as far as physically, but emotionally, she, I guess, connects with him. And it's really shown in a really beautiful way. But the thing with him is that he feels himself as a monster, just like she does. And so they're on that common ground too. But it left me to believe that there was nothing that was going to become fruitful for it. But it was like, it's beautiful in the moment, especially the small scenes when, like, they had already had their minds manipulated. Like, Bruce gets his mind manipulated early on, and he literally goes on the attack of a whole city. Like, he's literally almost killing people, and Iron Man is left to try to really save his friend from himself. And it's one of the most epic battles ever. Like, the Hulkbuster armor by far was some of the best CG action that I've ever seen. And to have the Hulk, a real mad Hulk, really going at him, like, it took him to take him through an entire building just to even slow him down. And it was amazing to watch. But like I said, I thought that was a really interesting element. I didn't think it was going to go the whole 9 yards. And it proceeded, it didn't. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't well thought out. But yeah, what is something else that you can think of? I'm leaving the best for last, quite honestly. I'm kind of leaving you go, but
let's see here. So, I mean, there's a lot that happened in the movie, but as far as, like, a couple things that kind of, like, really stuck out. I'm just, like, really replaying the movie through my head, but so definitely with the villains, you know, one thing about the first Avengers that I think they kind of, like, hinted on and kind of, like, played around was the fact that the villains, they were a threat more so to humanity than the actual Avengers themselves. I felt like, and I felt like they were more so, like, the caliber to which they fought. I was like, yo, these guys are beasts. Like, they look practically immortal from the first one. But you go into this one and it's like the threat is very real, not only for the sake of the world, but also for the Avengers, like, as a team. And you know, Scarlet Witch, she has the ability to, like, which I didn't know this going into the movie. I thought she could only manipulate matter, but she can actually, like, manipulate people's minds and their thoughts. And that's one of the first things she does. And I was like, oh crap, like. And at first she starts doing it. She does it with Tony. And after that point, I was just like, okay, she's bound to manipulate each person in this team, like, through the course of this movie, like, at one point.
yeah.
But she shows him, like, a vision of the whole team pretty much dying. And Tony Stark's the only one left alive. And that like, just kind of just made, like, my mind just wonder, because it was like, yo, what is going on? Like, is that actually going to take place or whatever? And, you know, I'm thinking about this in the entire movie. So, not only that, but so kind of proceeding after the Hulkbuster fight, and after the reveal of pretty much Ultron, and that's pretty crazy how he came to be too, because so the first scene, actually the big battle, the fight scene in the beginning, They were doing a raid on what was it? A Hydra. It was a Hydra base. I think it was in Russia or somewhere. I don't know, but it was a Hydra base, and they're trying to go after Loki's staff from the first one, and so pretty much, I forget how they come about it, but they find out that the staff is actually holding an Infinity Stone, right? So that is it's crazy. It's
the staff itself, internally it has an Infinity Stone, the mind altering Infinity Stone. But then on the out surface of it, it also has raw data that is basically kind of organic matter / data.
Yeah.
And they found out that it actually had technically a sentient being, or what they perceive to be. This is artificial intelligence incarnate. And Bruce and Iron Man, they decided like they really want to kind of manipulate this to try to use it for a force of good. But the only reason why Bruce is, or not Bruce, but Tony is doing it is because he believes that they ultimately can't protect everyone at once. And he wants to try to, in his words, put an iron suit around the world. And in doing that, that basically puts everybody in jeopardy. And Bruce is kind of like telling him, like, look, this is not rationalistic for what you need to do. But, I mean, he does it anyway. And they thought they didn't succeed. And then the funny sequence kind of comes up where they're like trying to test with like Thor's hammer and like seeing who's worthy. And the only person that really shook it was Captain America. It's a really funny scene. But then this is where there's a point where Jarvis is basically kind of interacting with this AI that they've been tampering with, and it becomes active, and it takes Jarvis down and takes upon itself to get internally to all the different machines in the area, and he just proceeds to attack them. And I think that one of the things about Ultron that I love, I was kind of leaving that for you, is the fact that like James Spader demolishes this role in such a way that he's a unique villain that you know for a fact that he believes what he's doing is completely accurate to a T, because that's how he was built and sharpened. But he utilizes biblical context to justify what he's doing. Like, he basically presents himself as a deity, but he knows he's a self-proclaimed false deity. That there's nothing that he can do to say that, man, I'm better or higher. And he keeps on trying to reach to evolve himself to be better, but he can never really get to that pinnacle. And that's why he hates Tony so much, and that's why he hates everything that Tony kind of really loves and cares about. But he justifies it by saying like the world needs to be basically eradicated to keep itself from destroying itself. And it's so flawed perspective, but James Spader just goes in on the dialogue, and I feel like Joss Whedon gave him full reins to really kind of go any way he wanted to with the dialogue. And I don't feel like this was all scripted. I feel like there was some open-ended conversations. But I guess the last thing that really surprised me, because we're gonna go into a deeper spoiler review with a lot of other people later. So I'm gonna just leave it at that for my part. Is the fact that I was surprised how many people actually showed up. There was mention of Wakanda. There was Andy Serkis that showed up as Ulysses Claw. And I mean, of course, like there's a scene with him in Ultron, and it was a really interesting scene. It kind of tripped me out. They had Strucker in it. They had Hamnell in it. They had Peggy Carter in it, or Agent Carter back. They had Sam Mackie back, or they had Anthony Mackie back as Sam Wilson. I mean, they had some of everybody that showed back up, but I think that the people that were new, such as Ultron, such as the Vision, that Paul Bettany played a really good role with, but more than anything, the twins, that they just fit the mold so well. It was almost seamless. Like, I mean, at first I was kind of like, man, what are they doing? Like, they're so misguided, it's annoying. But then you find out where they're coming from, what their past is. And then I think that even with Ultron trying to like justify helping them or trying to relate to them, like it adds more weight to their characters. It's almost like they're being birthed in front of us. And I really like that there's so many different characters that are put into what we already thought was a big like ensemble, and they're able to make it work. That's creative genius to be able to do that on a directorial level and on a scripting level. So I could really appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I give the movie, honestly, for me, my final thoughts, I give it a 9 out of 10. Like, I really, really enjoyed this one. Do I think it was better than the first one? In certain ways, I really do. Like, I think that it would peak at like maybe a 9.25 for me. But it's like kind of Joe said earlier that when he was reviewing like Avengers 1, that we've seen so many different scripts. We've seen so many different things that have come out. And it's just different, you know, but I really appreciate and really love this movie. And we're going to go and see it again on Sunday. And I'm going to go see it again tomorrow. But maybe like the score might go up the more I catch stuff that I couldn't believe were there. But what are your closing, I guess, remarks or thoughts about the movie? You can take as much time you want to with it, because this is a spoiler review.
One thing that I find that they did a good job, as far as like the plot goes, I think. So Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they were kind of like opposed against the Avengers, but I like how they had Ultron. They had them team up with Ultron, but at the same time, they had his agenda of like his end game hidden from even those two. Mm-hmm. So I think that was actually really smart as far as like how the plot was designed, and I thought that was interesting. That adds some meat to the story, and also one thing that I found interesting, also even with the fight between Iron Man and the Hulk, like I thought that was really cool, cause not only did like the Hulk like literally. Like when Scarlet Witch has like infiltrated his mind and like pretty much played him against the world, that scene, man, was just scary, like for real. So I was like, dude, what if I was like one of those like citizens while the Hulk was just like, just going on a rampage? Like there's literally nothing could stop him. Yes, the Hulk Buster was there. Tony Stark was there, but the Hulk was giving it to him at a couple of points, man. Like, and I mean the Hulk Buster armor would hold out for a time, but I mean the Hulk would just keep going in endurance. Like he would just wear him down. But I found it really crazy how the contingency plan Tony Stark had, like if the Hulk got out of control, like. His armor suit came out of a satellite in space. I was just like, now that is pretty epic. And while his armor was like pretty much breaking off and stuff, I mean y'all probably seen it already, but I thought that was really cool. A really cool design concept. How it was like parts of his armor would break off and they'd just keep feeding him armor. I was like, yo, this is ill. But that was crazy. Also, what I thought was really crazy, and the element that I've probably never seen before, was the plot of Ultron at the end and how he planned on destroying the planet.
Wow, yeah.
He took basically took a whole city and just like was gonna like raise up, then send it as a comet back towards the Earth. I was like, that I've never heard of. Like as a means to destroy the planet, I never heard of anything like that. That I think is iconic. That's probably one of the best
plotted out
destructions I've like evil villain plots I've probably seen.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, this is over the top, but at the same time it's so crazy. Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't sit down and think this up. Yeah. Like if I wanted to. But that was crazy.
So what would you give it as a score?
I'd give it a 10. But also what they did as a good job too is like while I was watching the whole entire film, and even when the point where like Scarlet Witch came out and they were trying to like, okay, so Tony Stark had possession of like the synthetic body, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do with it. But they're trying to figure out what they want to do with it. And like Tony was like, let's upload Jarvis into the body. I thought that was pretty crazy. And then like Scarlet Witch was like, yo, he's gonna destroy the world by doing this. And like you would think like the vision he had in the beginning was actually like gonna come true, you know? So that was a good plot direction too. So they really did a good job as far as like plot direction and different devices to get you engaged and thinking along the movie. Definitely was a big upgrade from the first one, because I think the first one was kind of straightforward, but this one I liked it because you didn't know what was going to happen in the end, because the stakes were so high.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Right now, I'm just super tired. I am worn out, quite honestly. I gotta go to work early in the morning. But yeah, we had to go and give y'all a spoiler review from SEL0320 and Joe Johnson 030. And we met up with some cool friends as well. We met up with Ari Davis or Roger. He's cool people, helping out with the group and the team and everything. But hopefully y'all enjoyed our spoiler review. We're gonna have a non-spoiler review as well. It's gonna be a little bit more on the downside. So if anybody y'all know that hasn't seen it, put them to this non-spoiler review. And then next week probably around like Sunday or Saturday, we're gonna have a huge open discussion on taking apart this whole entire movie. That's why we didn't go into too much detail in this one. And hopefully y'all check this out. We're gonna give y'all an event of what time that's gonna be as well. This is SEL0320 signing out. I'm out. I ain't got nothing more.